want some sauce?
Scene 1, Apple, take 1.
What's up, everybody? How's it going out there? We are going to be making honey walnut shrimp today. And I was about to say coconut shrimp, but that's completely different. And what you see before you in this water here is about 1.5 cups of rice. And I have put some water in here just so that way I can kind of stir it up and get the extra starch off of it. And I'm going to do this for a little bit, and I'm going to pour the water out, and then I'm going to put some more water in, and I'm going to do it a few times until the water kind of stays clear. Okay. After that is done, what I'm going to do is I am going to put 1.5 times the amount of water that I put dry rice. So what I'm going to do is, after the water is clear, after this extra starch has been off, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put, let's see, that's going to be 2.25 cups of water inside here. And I'm going to bring it to a boil, and I'm going to have a lid on this. And after it comes to a boil, we're going to turn it down to low, lowest setting that your stove can do. Leave the lid on, and you're going to give it maybe 15-20 minutes, somewhere like that. As you can see, nothing too amazing about this. Just 1.5 times the amount of water to rice. I'm going to end up putting a little bit of salt in this. That way it's got a little bit of something in there, a little bit of flavor. That lid will work. And we're just going to end up bringing this to a boil now. But while that is boiling, let's go ahead and make our sauce and get our shrimp ready. So we'll put an egg, a little bit of salt, a little bit of black pepper. I'm going to be using some raw shrimp about this size right here, and what we want to do is we basically want to remove the shell from it. Okay, if you want to leave the tail on, you can, but call that good. And if you see anything on the inside there, remove it. On the vein in the back, go ahead and remove that, because that is its digestive system. Now these shells from the shrimp, if you want to, you can save them and boil them, and you can actually create a shrimp broth, a shrimp stock out of it. The rice started boiling, so I've turned it down to the lowest setting. After I'm done deveining, which basically means you remove the digestive tract, and these look like they've been deveined already, but there are little remnants in there. But after I'm done deveining, as well as I'm done peeling these, I'm going to wash them one more time. The way that I peel them is, I mean, just so you know, if you've never done this before, I just end up kind of grabbing it like this, coming down here, pinching and pulling, and that way I get all the rest of the meat out of there. But if you look on the bottom here, you're going to see that there's a little bit of that digestive system in there, and that needs to come out. Now, if you eat it, nothing's going to happen to you, okay? It's just a disgusting thought, that's all. Do everyone a favor and just clean them. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, we're going to whisk this stuff together. Then I'm going to take my cleaned shrimp, throw them in here, give them a coat. Here's a perfect example of how there's still something inside there. We're going to get that out. This is one of my wife's favorite dinners as well, or meals as well. So the way I see it, this is enough shrimp for one person anyway, so that works out. So what else do we got to do? Well, we're going to have to add some cornstarch to this. Okay, and we want to coat these dudes. We're not looking for a heavy coating. We're not looking for a real thick coating or anything, but we are looking for a coating. Okay, so we'll just kind of flip these dudes around a little bit. I'm going to call that good. So let's see how we're doing here. That's pretty good. We're going to fluff this up. My hand's probably in the way, but we're gonna. I turn the fire off, and I'm going to call that rice good. The sauce, easy as can be. So we got some mayo. That's mayonnaise, not Miracle Whip or anything like that. Use mayonnaise, and I'm going to be putting, for the amount of shrimp that we have, I think that right there is good. If you're going to twist my arm and ask me how much is there, maybe 1/3 of a cup or something. Now I'm going to be adding honey to this. And, so let's give it a little bit more. Why not? If you're going to twist my arm, 1.5 tablespoons, 2 tablespoons. This is condensed milk. Okay, this is old school. We're going to put a little bit of that in here. This is a sweetened condensed milk. Something. Let's put a little bit more in there. Let's call that good. So I ended up putting 2 capfuls of lemon juice in here, which is a capful of this stuff, right? And or half of a lemon, right? Half of a lemon juice. And that will complete the sauce. So now it's time for us to take care of the walnuts. Okay. Now, if you want to crush these, you can. I'm just going to leave them whole. But we're gonna do what's called candying them. We are going to candy the walnuts. Obviously, if you have an allergy to walnuts, don't put them in there. So there's half a cup of sugar. The amount of water I put in there was maybe 1/8 of a cup. It wasn't really a whole lot. This is rice syrup. You can also use corn syrup. The only reason why I'm putting this in here is to help break up the crystalline structure of the sugar, so during the time that it boils, it doesn't really crystallize. Okay, you don't have to do that. But I do it. You can also use corn syrup, just Karo syrup if you want to. I'm going to be adding a little bit of honey to this, just to give it a little bit more of that honey flavor. So now that we've kind of got a little bit of a boil going, I'm going to end up adding my walnuts to this. I'm only going to put a half a bag. Eventually, the sugar is going to start caramelizing. In other words, it's going to start turning brown. Nothing wrong with that. That gives it a better flavor. But when you feel that the walnuts are done and they've been candied enough, turn off the fire, take the walnuts out. Okay? Leave the sugar behind. You don't want the sugar, you just want the walnuts. Okay? It's up to you. You can take it to where it's really dark. The sugar gets really dark. You can do that if you want to, or you can do it just a little bit like this if you want. Okay, I'm going to let this go for a while because I want these to be caramelized and I want them to be cooked quite well. When you're done cooking these, because it's starting to caramelize big time, I can smell it. When you're done cooking these, you want to put these on something that is not going to stick to the walnuts. In other words, you don't want to put this on something like paper plate, because that sugar can attach to it, and next thing you know, you're going to eat paper with the sugar, because the sugar essentially is going to end up becoming a glue, right? So use something like parchment paper or aluminum foil. It smells like caramelized honey. See, some of the sugar has kind of dried already, and you're going to see that it crystallizes, and it gives it that strong candy coating on the outside of the walnuts. The longer you let this stuff stay in the sugar water, or you can put butter in there instead of water, which would make a really good caramel. But the longer you let it set in there, the more it's going to burn, and you're going to get more of a nutty, toasty flavor. So this is pretty much what we got here for the candied walnuts. Okay, right here like this, as you can see. We'll put this to the side here for a second. So right now I am heating up some oil, and I'm going to be deep frying these. I'm just going to be doing these in a small pot. Figured I'd cook a little bit of French fries before I put my shrimp inside there. And we want to be basically just putting in one at a time. Trying to prevent these guys from touching one another while they're frying up, so that way they don't stick. And it doesn't take a long time for shrimp to cook. What we're going to do is we're going to take these guys out. I'm going to throw them directly into the frying pan. do our second batch. Okay, so we have this on the burner now. I'm going to add just a little bit of salt to this. I'm going to be adding some of the walnuts that we have candied. And then now we end up pouring our sauce over this. And some people will put scallions, you know, green onions, whatever, on top of the shrimp and everything, just to add color. I don't really see the point behind that. But we want to toss all of this, and we want everything to get coated real well. And there we go, guys. Honey walnut shrimp. And like I always do, just to make it authentic, we're going to put a couple of chopsticks there. Now this is something that you definitely want to serve warm. You wouldn't want to reheat this, but there you go, guys. That is that. I know it looks like a lot because it is, right? And there's still some in the pan, but my wife can take some more to work tomorrow. So anyway, guys, that is that. But until next time, I will talk to you later.